Hey everyone, this is Josh Hayward and welcome to episode 29 of 31 Days of Pumpkin. We are just a few days away from the end and it cannot come any sooner. As much fun as this has been, I am so tired of pumpkin beers. But it has been fun. It's been great seeing all these different kinds of beers, and it's been great seeing just some of the innovation of some of these breweries. The pumpkin ale is more vast than just some trend. We've seen lots of great things thus far, and we got another great one for you tonight. This is the Headless Heron by Central Waters Brewing Company out of Amherst, Wisconsin. Yep, Amherst, Wisconsin. Special thanks to my buddy Brent for sending this one over to me as well. Brent has actually sent me several that I've showcased here on 31 Days of Pumpkin, so I'm really looking forward to this one. Can't say that I've heard of Central Waters or this particular beer. This is the Headless Heron Barrel-Aged Pumpkin Spice Ale, aged in used bourbon barrels with nutmeg, cinnamon, ginger, and cloves. So, little cheat sheet on what is actually in this beer. But yeah, looking forward to it. Showcased here in this larger bomber type bottle. Nice to enjoy with a friend. But yeah, looking forward to this one. Oh wow, that's a beautiful color. Beautiful, beautiful beer. Oh wow, I'm getting some aromas there too. Nice. Getting some cinnamon, getting some nutmeg. Even without sticking my nose in the glass, I'm already getting some good aromas. So that's nice. Very, very nice. All right, so we've got a dark copper beer. Dark copper beer. Some may say it may classify it as the amber. You can actually see some of that amber towards the bottom of the glass, and then also towards the top. But it's a dark amber. I would call it a copper beer. I kind of like using that word. I feel it kind of falls in line between the amber and between the brown. But very, very pretty beer. Quite a bit of carbonation in this beer. I'm watching these bubbles, these CO2 bubbles, slowly rise to the top all throughout this beer. A slight haze in it, which is great to see. Means they've probably used some pumpkin in this. There is a tan head on this beer. A rich looking head actually. Pretty frothy there too. So just looks very hearty. Almost like when you look at it like that, as I've swirled it up and with that layer of foam on top, looks like a stout. But yeah, really looking forward to this one. Let's see what we have as far as the aromas go. Very, very sweet. Very sweet and bourbony. Definitely some cinnamon and nutmeg, maybe a little bit of spice in there. Some brown sugar, and then some bourbon. Lots of bourbon there. That's something I've noticed with these barrel-aged beers. Whenever they do that, more times than not, those aromas, those notes really kind of take over the beer, at least from the aroma standpoint, to me. Because I can, as I poured it, I smelled the bourbon, I smelled some of the other spices. More spices in this one than I'd smelled in some of the other barrel-aged ones. But that bourbon or the rum or whatever, was it brandy? I can't remember off the top of my head now. One of the beers was aged in the brandy barrels, which was kind of neat. You can really discern those aromas, and it's a catch-22. Sometimes it's really nice. Other times it's hard to discern what else is in the beer aside from that. So, but I am able to get some spices in this, so that's nice. And look at that. That head is still sitting there. Like I haven't really moved the beer around that much more, but it's just hanging out there, pretty consistent. So let's see what we've got. Cheers to the Headless Heron. It's not a bad beer. Not bad at all. Hard to know that I'm drinking a pumpkin ale. I guess I'm tasting a little bit in there, but again, heavy on that bourbon. I'm getting notes of caramel, maybe even some sweeter notes come from some of that darker malt. Some sweeter notes, almost kind of reminding me of molasses a little bit. But definitely get some caramel in there, some molasses, the cinnamon and the nutmeg. Heavy on that bourbon again. Although, let's say the bourbon taste in this is not as heavy as some of the other ones that we've had. Pleasant beer, though. A good fall beer. I feel like this would be a great transition beer from moving into the days of fall into the days of winter. It takes on a darker appearance. The alcohol, it's warming, kind of good in that respect. As the days turn cooler, you got an ale that will warm you up a little bit. I feel like the taste of the bourbon and the molasses and some of that caramel even last post taste. I'm still tasting it as I continue to talk. Those aromas are all in my throat and everything. One of the cool things about tasting something, you continue to taste it as you talk or as you breathe after the fact. But yeah, it's interesting. It's kind of hard to judge it against a pumpkin ale because I'm not getting a lot of that. This is kind of moving more towards the winter type ales, winter spiced ales, those types of things. The color of the head, the spiciness, the fact that they use the bourbon, and it just kind of all goes together. Kind of reminds me of a beer you drink as you go into the holiday season or Christmas time. So, not a bad beer. It's not something you could drink a lot of just because of that bourbon, unless you really, really love bourbon and you just want to kick this thing back. Can't say that it's something that I can enjoy a lot of, but it's definitely something that I can appreciate from time to time, enjoy with a friend, whatever the case may be. So, not a bad beer here. Special thanks to my buddy Brent, and cheers to Central Waters on this Midwestern pumpkin ale, spiced pumpkin ale. So, cheers to 29 days of 31 days of pumpkin. We've got 2 more days left, guys, and the end is almost in sight. 2 more days left and 3 more beers. So it's going to be great. Thank you so much for following along. Have a great night.